Hello, hello. We are live, and you're probably a little surprised because typically I go live on Tuesday nights, but you can probably hear in my voice that I've not been feeling that great this week. And so our live got pushed to today. Thanks for those of you who joined me live on a Thursday morning. I'm glad you could come and check it out, but also thank you to those who end up watching this on the replay. We are going to get right to it. This video, the purpose of this video is not to convince you to leave the US. That's a decision that you got to reach on your own. If you want to stay in the US and fight to change it, this video is not for you. Probably my entire YouTube channel is not for you. But again, that is your business. Okay. Today, I am talking to those of you who have already made up your mind that you want to leave the United States, but you can't do that right now. Maybe it's financial reasons. Maybe you are a caregiver for an older family member. Whatever, that's fine. What I want to do today is to go through and help you figure out what you should be doing now and until you are in a position to leave. Okay. If you're new here, my name is Adelia Borchade. I am a financial educator and coach who left the US almost 10 years ago. On my channel, I share what I know. That includes all that money stuff that nobody taught you growing up, the ins and outs of solo travel, as well as what it's like to live in another country and how you can too. Now, if those sound like things you are interested in, subscribe to the channel. Honestly, that is the only way to ensure that YouTube keeps bringing my content to your feed. Okay. So we are going to jump in here. If you can't leave the US just yet, what should you be doing so that you can survive until you can make your exit and you are ready to make that exit? Okay, there are one, two, three, four main things I have. The first one is to get your paperwork in order. Do you have a passport? I believe the last time I looked at the stat, only something like 30% of adults in the US have passports. So odds, excuse me, odds are pretty good that you might not have one. I mentioned passports first because this is the one I think you have to be you have to really get on the stick about and hurry up and do that. What we have seen from this regime is they don't want us, they don't want Americans, US Americans, to leave the country. They have antagonized other countries. They have bullied other countries they have, what is it? They've banned travel. And then because of reciprocity, those countries, there's a couple of African countries who have banned travel for us. So everything we've seen this regime do tells me that on their list, now maybe they're a little busy kidnapping leaders in Venezuela, but somewhere on that list, maybe a little further down, is to make it more difficult for citizens to leave. So if you've got to prioritize things, I would say making sure that you have a passport and anybody else that is important to you, that you love, that either may leave with you or may join you later, make sure those people have passports. Okay, that's number one. Something to keep in mind is that passports for children under 16 are only good for 5 years. All right, so what other paperwork do you need to be gathering? You need to get official copies of your birth certificate. If there are minor children coming with you, you need their birth certificates as well. If you are going solo, it's just you are the only person you got to worry about, then this is just for you. But if you are bringing minor children, If you are bringing dependent adults, you want to make sure that you have the appropriate paperwork for them too. Now, here's the thing. Things like birth certificates, transcripts, like college transcripts, official copies of professional licenses and certifications. It may work out that you don't need those things, but given the direction things are going in the United States, I would advise that you be prepared for the worst case scenario. And to me, worst case scenario is you cannot return back to the US to get these documents. You can, it is sometimes possible to get them long distance, but that's a whole nother set of hoops to jump through. It can be incredibly expensive. I'm finding myself in a situation now where there are documents I thought I had that I don't have, and now I have to figure out, am I going to physically go to the United States to get these documents, or am I going to have to pay somebody a grip to get them for me? So we want to proceed planning for the worst case scenario. We're going to hope for the best, but we're going to plan for the worst case scenario. So, like I said, official copies of birth certificates, particularly if you are bringing older folks with you, particularly like older Black folks. We know there can be drama around getting those documents. So do the best that you can with that. When I talk about college transcripts, professional licenses, certifications, particularly if you end up going to a country where it is possible for you to work there, having those documents will facilitate that. Also, gather up medical records, particularly if you are someone who has complicated medical history, has, autoimmune diseases or some kind of long-term illness. When you find new doctors in your new country, you'll want them to understand what's going on with you, and having that information will be invaluable. Also, shot records, particularly because of the direction the United States is going with immunizations. I think it is moving forward, I think it is going to be very important to prove that you've been immunized for certain things. And if you are somebody who has a pre-existing health condition and you are currently covered by medical insurance, having proof of that continuous coverage quite possibly will facilitate you getting coverage in a new country that might not otherwise accept you with the pre-existing condition. I hope I said that so that it makes sense. If you are somebody with a pre-existing condition and you've been fortunate enough to maintain health insurance, which I know is ridiculously difficult right now in the US, having proof of that could help you get coverage in a new country, particularly one that might not cover you otherwise for your pre-existing condition. Now, Flutterby PNW asked a good question. Should you get the docs apostilled? Now, there are 21 countries that are not part of the Hague Convention for apostilles. I think the majority of you are probably not going to be moving to those countries. It tends to be Central Asian countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Russia, now like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are on that list too. But of all the countries in the world, there are only 21 that don't accept apostilles. If you know that you are heading to one of those 21 countries, you need to verify how they authenticate documents. Now, an apostille basically is sort of an internationally accepted stamp that says, yes, this document is legit. Sort of like when you get things notarized, the notary is saying, yes, this is a real thing. It's been signed by this person. Now, what I would get apostilled: birth certificates. I would get, if you are married, I'd get my marriage, I'd have a copy of my marriage license. I'd get that apostilled. I would also get any name changes. This is one of the things I did right. I got an adult name change. And so I have proof that my name used to be something else. And now it is, well, I have the name I was born with, but in the middle there, I had a different name and I went back to my original name. But I have the documentation to set that up. So any name changes, adoption paperwork, marriage licenses, divorce decrees, any paperwork like that, birth certificates, those are the documents I would get apostilled. Typically, that is done at the Secretary of State in the state where the document was issued. So if you have moved around a lot throughout your life, getting your apostilles might be a little bit more work. Like if you were married in one state, you were born in a different state, you got divorced in a different state, each of those documents would need to be apostilled in the state that issued them. Okay. Yeah, those are the documents that I would get apostilled. So number one thing on my list, if I can't leave now, but I want to leave eventually, I'd start working on getting my paperwork together. Number two is I would start working toward forming and maintaining community. Now, on this channel, if you've watched, I would say almost any of my other videos, you know I talk about the importance of being in community. It really is going to take us a village in order to survive the things that are coming, particularly if you are a Black or brown woman. The federal government, and by extension, the state governments, have proven to us that they are not looking out for us. Safety nets are disappearing. Not that they were that great to begin with, because we all know the United States is a corporation. Not that they were that good to begin with, but since November 2024, there has been a intentional stripping away of those things. So there is no way that you can survive the shit show that is coming alone. Being isolated. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like, if you're somebody and you're like, girl, when I think about my circle, my people, there's nobody, it's just me. I be in the house, I stay in this apartment, I mind my business. That's not a failing on you. And I'm not saying that. The system is designed to keep us isolated, because I'm sure in the wake of the bullshit that has happened in the last week, you've seen people outside the US asking, like, why aren't y'all doing something? Why aren't y'all rising up? Because they have designed the system to make it virtually impossible for us to do that, between being overworked, underpaid, not having a lot of free time, keeping us isolated, promoting, rugged individualism nonsense. All of those things have come together and sort of created a perfect storm. So the government is not coming to help you. If anything, they are going to try and actively harm you. How you survive until you can leave the United States is going to be because of community. So this is where there's going to have to be a little self-reflection, and think about, like, who are my people? You know, do you know the names of your neighbors? Like, y'all might wave at each other. Y'all might have been waving at each other for 10 years, but do you know their names? If you don't, make a point to go over there and introduce yourself and just say, hey, girl, I've been waving at you for the last 10 years, and I just realized I don't know your name. My name is blah, blah, blah. Like, a small intentional action like that is where we start. Okay. So, and when I talk about community, I am talking about a group of people who share responsibility for each other, resources. Like, yes, it would probably help if your community was located near you geographically. But for some of you, that may not be possible. And so your community might not be in your immediate area. But I want to challenge everybody to really think about how you are acting or interacting or not interacting with people you see every day. And what can you do about that? So, like I say, start with knowing folks' names. Um, and then, like, do they know who you are? Like, maybe, folks know you know their names, but maybe they don't know who you are. Villages don't just happen. They take effort, they take intention. Um, you know, even if your village, let's say y'all are scattered across 3 different cities, when's the last time you checked in with your people? Like literally, and I'm a bit of a strange bird, but literally I will text like, hey, I'm just checking in on you. Like, you need to know what's going on with your people if they're going to be your people. Okay. Um, that also means, well, how do I want to say this? Okay. So community doesn't just happen. You gotta do a little work. And I don't want us thinking about this in terms of um reciprocity, like I'm gonna do this for them because they're gonna do this for me. No, it is more of I want us all to live through this. And so we got to start connecting in order for that to happen. Okay. It is very easy for folks to look the other way when some bullshit happens if they don't know the people to whom it is happening. It's very different when they have a personal connection with those people. And the reality of our situation right now, the reality of the situation for those of you in the United States is you cannot afford to operate in isolation because there is literally a secret police on the loose in the United States wearing masks and kidnapping and killing people. So, yeah, we have to be intentional about uh, creating that community, forming it, and nurturing it, maintaining it. Yes, you are tired, you worked all day, but maybe you still, you know, do popsicles on your front porch. Like you tried out a new cookie recipe and you just go hand them to people, to your next door neighbors. Like that that's the kind of stuff we got to be doing. We can't just be like, oh, I don't feel like it, because we're at a point now that I don't think we no longer have that option. Okay. The next thing I think you need to be doing if you are in the US and you can't leave now, but you plan to leave, is to assess your skills. Okay. What can you do? How can you help your community? Okay, this is the community that you're working on fostering. Uh, how can you help them? And you might be thinking, well, girl, I ain't got no money. I can't help nobody. I can't help myself. It ain't about money. Okay. Do you garden? Are you raising chickens? Do you have a lemon tree in your backyard and you always get too many damn lemons? Okay. Somebody in that community can use them lemons. Like, how can you help your community? Do you have a specific skill set? Like, do you know how to crochet? Do you know how to sew? Do you know how to can? Um, did you used to be a plumber? Okay. Is there a way, a skill set you have that could help somebody? Is there a single mom that lives next door to you who could use somebody to watch her kids for a couple of hours just so she can get some fucking rest, or maybe so she can work on her side hustle? It's not necessarily about money. Okay. Do you have resources that could be shared with the people in your community? Do you have a lawnmower? The single mom who lives next door probably didn't think about the fact that she needed a lawnmower, or she's been paying somebody to cut her grass. But if she could borrow your lawnmower, she could then save that money. A power washer, a sewing machine. Do you have can't remember the right word. I want to say antique seeds, but that's not the word. But y'all know plant seeds that are like from old plants, not the GMO modified. Like, think about, what do I know how to do? What stuff is in this house that either I don't use, or I use it, but like other people could be benefiting from it too. Okay. Um, yes, heirloom. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Okay. And as you are assessing your skills, also think about, how can you earn some extra money? There is no way around it. Leaving takes money. Now, it probably doesn't take as much money as you think it does. Like, I've done several videos on this channel how you can literally move abroad with no money, with no job, how you can get residency with just $1,500 of income. So it probably doesn't cost as much as you think it does, but it does take some money. Okay. So what are some ways that you could earn additional money? And I know most US Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So most folks don't have currently within their budget like excess money that can be put aside. So this might be a situation where, you everybody loves your peach cobbler, and you start making peach cobblers and selling them at, like, I don't know what kind of celebrations, picnics, family reunions. I don't know. But we might have to get a little creative here. Okay. And then the last thing on my list is tied to that. You need to build up your cash reserves. Okay. Because no matter what happens, short of a full on apocalypse, cash is going to be king. And so while having a credit card that's got some space on it might work in a few situations to get you out of a jam, cash, everybody take cash. Okay. Now, if we in a situation where nobody's taking cash, you got bigger problems. Okay. Like, people are using seeds as currency. We got much bigger problems. But uh, so you need to up your cash reserves. Now, what you're going to have to do is you have to interrogate every bit of spending you do. If you're somebody who primarily spends using electronic forms of currency, go through your past credit card bill. Hell, in January, your credit card company should be sending you a 2025 year end where it lists everything you put on that card. And so if you have no clue how you are spending money day to day, either start tracking it, like literally writing it down, or review your credit card statements. You need to question every dime you spend. Because if you're here watching this video, you want out. And sometimes it takes a little sacrifice in order to get the things that we want. So interrogate all of your spending. Look at everything. There is no amount too small. And you have to really think about, is this money I can continue spending? Or is this money that I shift over to my fund for when I leave this place? If you are one of the fortunate people who does have a little wiggle room in your current budget, set up an auto transfer that is hard to get to. Put it in a place that you will leave it alone. So maybe you open up a online high yield savings account that does not have any local branches where you live. And you put that that debit card in the bottom of a drawer, you freeze it in a block of ice, you do whatever you got to do. But if it's going to take work for you to get to that money, that's what we want. We want that friction there so that you can just kind of, the money goes there automatically. You're not thinking about it. You're not trying to go over there and dip. Notice I didn't say in your existing savings account in the same bank with your checking account, just transfer money over there. No, because that's too easy to transfer it right back. Okay. So you need to set aside some cash. If there is a side hustle that you can take up, funnel that side hustle money directly into this account so that if there's a side hustle you already do, and it is truly a side hustle, like it's extra money, but like you've been spending it on shoes and purses, maybe now is the time to funnel that money directly into this account so that you have cash for when you leave. And if you're already thinking, you've already decided that you are going to leave, you can't take all of that stuff with you. Okay, you can't. I think we need to shift our mind. The world where we are right now, January 8th, 2026, this is so sad for me to have to say this, but where we are right now, the idea of like a leisurely move abroad where I can pack my things into a container and have them shipped, that may still happen for you, but I think you might want to reframe your move into one of like, how are people moving when they were escaping 1930s Germany? Like, how can I have the most cash I can so that I can move quickly and easily to the next country? I think that's more apt for where we find ourselves right now than the way we have traditionally seen moving from the US and relocating elsewhere. So chances are you will not be able to take the vast majority of that stuff in your house because you can't leave right now. You've got time. Start selling that stuff that you don't use, that you know is not going to come with you. Start selling that stuff. Put that money to the side. It will save you on moving costs when you finally can move, and it will also earn you some extra cash. And time is on your side here. I did a video, oh gosh, it was probably 2 years ago, about how to downsize and declutter before you move abroad. And one of the things I said in that video is the more time you have, the more, if making money off of your stuff is important to you, having more time to do that is going to allow you the opportunity to make that money. So those are the things I think you need to be doing. I just saw, where was it? Okay, this is the mindset I need us to be in. My parents lived through the Great Depression. This sounds so much like how she described living through the 1930s. Yes, the people who come out on the other side of this with a little money in their pocket, they would do best to hold on to some of those lessons. Like my grandmother was born during the Great Depression, and therefore she raised my mother. And that's a woman who would reuse any fucking thing. And there are a lot of things that she did that I picked up on. That's what we need to do. The United States, as it stands right now, is very much focused on consumption. They need you to spend your entire check. Now, I know the reality is between rent and groceries, you're probably already doing that anyway. But if by chance you can create some space, this is what I mean by interrogating every spending choice you make. Like, we may not as in mass be able to rise up and go out for a strike because our police departments are militarized and they will kill us in the street. But you can stop giving those people who are funding this bullshit, you can stop giving them your money. You don't have to buy things from Amazon. You don't have to buy things from Walmart. Yes, Will it inconvenience you? Will it make your life a little more uncomfortable? Yes. But if doing that, one, deprives them of even a nickel of money, I say that's a win. And two, allows you to have enough money to eventually make your move and get out of Dodge, I say that's all the better. So yeah, I think we need to be thinking about, particularly Black folks, how did our people manage when the system was actively working against them? Because with this new nonsense that is happening, don't forget, they have basically removed discrimination protections. They've removed worker safety protections. When they can fire you because you're Black and they don't face any repercussions, they're going to do it. So, how did folks in our community manage when the system was so openly hostile to them? That's what we need to do in order to get from where we are now to leaving the US. Um, absolutely. This is not the time to hibernate or pull away from people. 100%. This is the time to be seeking out your people, finding those people who are as pissed off about this bullshit as you are. And how can y'all support each other? How can y'all help each other out? Okay. Oh, I'm trying my best not to cough all in y'all's ear. Okay. So those are I think I said there was 4 things. Get your paperwork together, get things that apostille that need to be apostille. Now, somebody mentioned that they got translations. My experience has been that wait to do translations until you are in the country that you are moving to. Okay, here it is. Monique said it. We had all our paperwork apostille, translated, then had 3 copies of them notarized, which was a good thing because they lost a copy of our marriage license when I applied for your temporary residency. Yes, yes. So multiple copies, if you could swing that, would be great. But yes, I typically would recommend that you don't get things translated until you're in that country, because often they want it by a certified translator or somebody from a specific list or that sort of thing. But the apostilles, the official copies, all of that you can do before you leave. Okay. So we talked about getting your paperwork together. Form and maintain community. It's gonna start small and it's gonna feel awkward. And I'm telling y'all this as a introverted introvert who makes it her life's work not to talk to people she don't know. But even so, I have done things like where I live now in Mexico City to connect with people in my building so that, we had an earthquake last week. But in the effect of, like, there's a big earthquake or something like that happens, that people know about the 2 girls that live upstairs and are like asking about us and checking in and that sort of thing. So yes, creating community, fostering it, nurturing it, it is going to take some work. It is going to take some intention, but I am confident you could do it. You could do it. Okay. 3, assess your skills. What are the skills you have? What are the resources you have that can be of use to your community? Are there areas that you can't meet them, and it would be great if somebody in your community could help you out? That would be a good thing to know. What are some ways you could make additional money? And then the last one, number 4, build up your cash reserves so that when you are able to get out of Dodge, you've got the cash, and you can make that move. Okay. Just going through the final comments here. Yeah, this is what I do. I do that. I did it when I was in the US. And I do it. It's actually fairly easy for me to do in Mexico because generally there is a Mexican company that makes the thing I want. Sometimes it costs me a little bit more. Sometimes I got to jump through some extra hoops, but I firmly believe that as they are stripping away our rights and our options, the thing that they can't take away from us is how we spend our money. And they need us to spend our money. So if, like I'm to the point that if I can't spend my money with somebody who is not evil, maybe I just can't buy that thing. Like this is to me, this is like the final frontier. This is how we fight back. All right. Thank you, Lady Sarita, who has been reminding y'all to hit the like button, hit subscribe. That way, more of my videos will continue to come to your feed. Thank y'all for coming this morning at this odd time. I appreciate you. Um, I am going to go rest my voice, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.